Good morning, dear students. Welcome to another session of microwaves and antenna. So in the previous session, we started off with discussion related to microwave transmission lines, in which we obtained the equation for the transmission lines. That is, one is the coupled equation and one is the decoupled equation, each for instantaneous voltage and the instantaneous current representations. So that is what we had obtained. That is, these are the final equations what we represented. That is, dV by dz is equal to minus of r plus j omega l into I, where r plus j omega l is nothing but the impedance value z. Similarly, di by dz is equal to minus of g plus j omega c into v, where this part is nothing but the admittance. Similarly, we obtained the decoupled equation. These two are the coupled equations. These two are the coupled equations, and these are the decoupled equations. D square v by dz square, which is equal to r plus j omega l into g plus j omega c into v. So this is nothing but z into y, z into y into v. So z into y is represented as gamma square, which we term as gamma is termed as the propagation constant. Similarly, we have d square I by dz square, which is equal to r plus j omega l into g plus j omega c into I, which is gamma square into I. So again, this is z into y into I. So z into y is represented with gamma square. So now here we have z is represented with r plus j omega l, and it is given in ohm per meter. Y is given in mho per meter. Then gamma is given by square root of z into y, which is actually equal to alpha plus j beta. And gamma is termed as propagation constant. And in this, alpha is attenuation constant and beta is phase constant. SI unit of alpha is Napier's per meter, and for beta it is radians per meter. So we had discussed regarding these equations. These four equations are the basis for the next step. So these are the transmission line equations. Now using these equations, we try to find some solutions to these equations, in which we'll basically try to estimate what is the characteristic impedance, that is Z0, what is alpha value, what is beta value. Once we get alpha and beta value, we'll be able to estimate what is gamma value. So these are the things what we'll try to estimate in the solution to the transmission line equations. So continuing where we had left yesterday, that is solution to the transmission line equations. So in order to obtain the solution for the transmission line equations, we'll be utilizing the four equations what we discussed above. That is, these are the four equations what we'll be considering. Now, apart from this, there are some other representations what we have to consider. What is actually V and what is actually I? So yesterday we had seen that we have incident and reflected wave parameters. That is, when we look forward, right? So here when we have a look in this case, so what we have incident voltage, and reflected voltage, incident current and reflected current. So yesterday we also had discussed that sometimes these are represented, say, for current, right? I plus and I plus. This also represent the incident parameters. Similarly, we can have V plus and V plus. So or we can represent it as VI, here II. So these are all incident parameters. And then and for reflected parameters, they may be represented with IR reflected, I minus, or I minus. These are the reflected current parameters, reflected current. Then we can have reflected current represented, reflected voltage represented as VR, V minus, and V minus. So these are the different parameters. These are the parameters associated with this. So using this, how do I obtain the solution? So here, these equations, what we have, right? V and I. These include both incident and the reflected parameters. So we will be containing the incident and reflected voltage parameter, and I also will be containing the incident and reflected current parameters. And this is again dependent on the gamma value, which is called as the propagation constant. So what is the representation for this? So incident voltage, the instantaneous voltage, which is represented over here, is combination of V plus, that is, this is the incident voltage multiplied with its propagation constant parameter, that is e raised to minus gamma z, e raised to minus gamma z. And this one is the reflected voltage V minus multiplied with e raised to plus gamma z. So here we are assuming that the transmission line is along the z axis. It is along the z axis, and we are starting off from 0 over here. Now here one parameter to note down is, in some books they do the analysis in the same way, but they take the opposite direction. They take the opposite direction. So just be careful when you are dealing with that. The signs change over there. When z direction changes, it will become say if I'm taking in the other direction, right? If I'm taking in the other direction, what happens is this parameter becomes e raised to plus gamma z, because z will be negative, and here it becomes e raised to minus gamma z. That is with respect to the reflected parameter. So when you're utilizing that, just be careful, or if you're referring to any of the other aspects, right, just be careful in which direction they are considering it. So now we'll not confuse that. We'll just keep it simple. So incident voltage is equal to the incident, instantaneous voltage is equal to the incident current plus the incident voltage is incident voltage plus the reflected voltage parameter. So similarly, we have current also represented over here. That is, instantaneous current value will be equal to the incident current parameter plus the reflected current parameter. So this is how they'll be represented. Now here, since we know that gamma is equal to alpha plus j beta, that is, it is equal to alpha plus j beta. So we substitute this value in this equation, that is in this entire equation. So when we do that and simplify, this is what we get. So we get the V is equal to V plus e raised to minus alpha z into e raised to minus j beta z, V minus into e raised to alpha z into e raised to plus j beta z. Now here, this parameter actually represents the amplitude of this entire stuff, and this gives you the phase information. Similarly, this one gives you the amplitude representation of this parameter, and this one gives you the phase representation. So this is how it goes around for the representations. So this is actually r into e raised to j theta. So this is how it is represented. So this is the representation what we have in terms of incident parameters and the reflected parameters. So here we have these complex quantities which are represented. V plus and V minus are associated with the complex amplitudes in the positive and the negative z direction. Because if you consider the transmission line, right? If you consider the transmission line, what you have is, you have transmission line, you have load at the other end. We are considering the z axis. the incident wave, say if I consider this at z equal to 0, what happens is the incident wave is traveling in the positive z direction and the reflected wave will be traveling in the other opposite direction. That's why that representation differences will be there. That is what they have specified over here. That is v plus and v minus are the complex amplitudes in the positive and the negative z directions. Now these two actually represents the phase values of the waves which are traveling in the positive and negative z direction respectively. Now beta, so here we know that beta is the phase constant. When we multiply beta with the z parameter, we'll be getting what is known as electrical length. Now beta, if you remember, beta is given as what? 2 pi by lambda. It is given by 2 pi by lambda. So it is actually the ratio of 2 pi, which is the radiant distance which is traversed in this form. So if you consider any waveform, right? If you consider any waveform, it will take, say, if one cycle is completed, that one cycle will consume 2 pi radians. Will consume 2 pi radians. So that is in terms of radians. So in radians, it will be traversing 2 pi. But when we want to specify it in meters, right? It will be specified, say, in lambda. That is the wavelength parameter. So if I have to traverse 2 pi radians, right, the wavelength of this wave will be lambda. So if I have to define beta, it will be the ratio of this distance in radians divided by this wavelength. So that's why the equation turns out to be 2 pi divided by lambda. So this is with respect to beta. So when I multiply this with the z, right, what happens is lambda is also in meters and z is in meters. So I'll be getting what? I'll be getting the value in radians. Beta into z will give me only radians. So this we specify it as the electrical length of the transmission line, and its unit is in terms of radians. So similarly for current representation, right? I is represented with the incident parameter and the reflected parameter of the current, which is I plus e raised to minus gamma z plus I minus e raised to plus gamma z. And when I replace gamma with alpha plus j beta, these are the parameters what I'll be getting. That is I plus e raised to minus alpha z is the amplitude parameter of this entire unit, and e raised to minus j beta z gives you the phase information. Similarly, plus I minus e raised to alpha z into e raised to j beta z. So this one gives you the amplitude parameter. This one gives you the phase parameter. So these are the steps what we'll be getting from V and I. So now what we have to do is, using those equations, we have to substitute it in these equation, that is equation 34, and try to obtain the solution in terms of R, L, G and C parameters. R, L, G, C parameters. Now I know what is V, I know what is I, that is from the equations what we have discussed, that is 35, 36 and equation 37 and 38. So these are the equations what we are having. So now when we substitute those parameters in this equation, that is, say for the first equation we are considering dV by dz is equal to minus of R plus j omega L into I. So here when we substitute the parameter V, when we substitute the parameter V, what we'll be getting is differentiation of V plus e raised to minus gamma z plus V minus e raised to gamma z, which will be equal to minus of R plus j omega L, and this parameter is replaced with its equation which is represented over here, that is I plus e raised to minus gamma z plus I minus e raised to gamma z. Now we differentiate this part, that is the left hand side of the equation, and we get this result on the left hand side. So when we differentiate this, now what we have to do is we have to compare the exponential parameters. We have to compare the exponential parameters. Now here we have two parameters, that is e raised to minus gamma z, and here we have another one, e raised to plus gamma z. Similarly, on the right hand side, I'll be having, when I simplify this one, I'll be having e raised to minus gamma z and e raised to plus gamma z. Now what I do is I compare the coefficients of these parameters on both the sides. So when I compare, what I'll be getting is minus of gamma v plus, minus of gamma v plus is equal to this parameter. It is equal to this parameter, minus of r plus j omega l into I plus. So I am just comparing the coefficients related to the exponential parameters. E raised to minus gamma z coefficient is equal to coefficient of e raised to minus gamma z on the left hand side. So when I compare this, these are the results what I'll be obtaining. So similarly, when I consider this one, gamma into v minus will be equal to, since we have plus over here, what happens is it should be plus. So it will be gamma v minus will be equal to minus of r plus j omega l into I minus. Okay. So this is what I'll be getting. So when I equate the coefficients on of both on the right and left hand side, we'll be ending up with this result. That is, we'll be getting minus of v plus is equal to minus of r plus j omega l into I plus. Now this gamma I take it on the other side and I plus I take it on the other side. So I'll be getting v plus divided by I plus, which is minus minus gets cancelled. So what I'll be having r plus j omega l divided by gamma. But what is gamma equal to? Gamma is given by square root of z into y. This is how it is represented. And what is r plus j omega l? R plus j omega l is equal to z. That is the impedance. So now here I simplify this equation. That is, this is nothing but I can write z equal to what? Square root of z into square root of z. So therefore what happens? One square root and the other square root of z gets cancelled, and I have square root of z divided by square root of y. So therefore when we have this, what we have, v plus divided by I plus is equal to square root of z by y. Now this is actually a representation of the characteristic impedance z naught. V plus by I plus gives you characteristic impedance. Therefore, Z naught is equivalent to what? Z naught is equivalent to square root of Z by Y. Now, what is Z and Y? Z is nothing but R plus J omega L, and Y is G plus J omega C. So this is Z naught, that is in characteristic impedance represented in terms of Z and Y or RL GC components. Now this equation can still be simplified. So in next this thing again we'll come across this equation. So we have obtained solution for Z naught, characteristic impedance. We have obtained solution for Z naught, which is characteristic impedance. Now what we have to do is we have to obtain solution for alpha and beta. This one still further simplification is there. So we'll look at it after we solve the alpha and beta equations. So Z naught is represented by equation 40. So now here we had another parameter, right? Here we solved e raised to minus gamma z. Now let us see what we'll get if I solve the coefficient related to e raised to gamma z. So if I solve that e raised to gamma z, we'll be having plus gamma into v minus is equivalent to minus of r plus j omega l into I minus. That is, here if we just observe, it is gamma into V minus, and this side it is minus of R plus j omega L into I minus. So now when I solve this, what I'll be getting is V minus and I minus. I take I minus on the other side and gamma on the other side. When I solve this, I'll be ending up with this result. Sorry, the net went down. Okay. So here what we have, V minus divided by I minus, which is related to what? Reflected parameters. Reflected voltage divided by the reflected current. So this also gives me intrinsic impedance, but we have a negative sign over here. This basically tells us that if I look from the say generator point of view, say here I have a generator and here I have a load. So if I look from this end, for incident, I am looking it as plus Z naught, but for reflected, I am looking it as minus Z naught. So minus symbol indicates that. It doesn't indicate that it is negative resistance or something. It is just telling that it is in opposite direction what you are viewing. So therefore we have minus Z naught, which is minus of square root of Z by Y. So V plus by I plus gives you Z naught. V minus by I minus gives you minus Z naught. So that is what we are getting in for intrinsic impedance. Now, when we consider the other cases, that is, say I want to obtain solution for gamma. I want to obtain solution for gamma. So in this case, we know that gamma is equal to what? Square root of Z into Y. But what is Z? Z is equal to R plus j omega L and Y is equal to G plus j omega C. Now what we do is we need to apply binomial expansion. We need to apply binomial expansion so that we can simplify this equation still further and obtain the values of alpha and beta. So in order to do that, what we are doing, we take j omega L constant. We take j omega L as a common parameter from this one. So what I'll be having j omega L into 1 plus R by j omega L. So this is the parameter what I'll be having from this one. And from here, what I'll do is I'll take j omega C common. So when I take j omega C common, I'll be getting 1 plus G divided by j omega C. So this is the other parameter what I'll be getting. So when I simplify this equation, gamma, it will be j omega, since it is j omega square into LC, it is j omega into square root of LC into square root of this parameter, into square root of this parameter. So we'll be ending up with gamma equal to this parameter. So now what I have to do is I have to apply binomial expansion to this parameter. I have to expand this, apply binomial expansion and expand this and try to see what are the parameters I'll be getting in for representation of alpha and beta. So now when I observe here, since this is a fractional part, you have two distinct considerations. So I'll be considering the binomial representation when this is fractional. So here we have in general one equation, that is 1 plus x raised to n. In binomial expansion, it is given by 1 plus n into x plus n into n minus 1 divided by 2 factorial into x square and so on. So this is nothing but it is nck into x raised to k. So binomial expansion representation of 1 plus x raised to n is nothing but summation of k is equal to 0 to infinity nk. This is nothing but nck. It is nck. That is, you write it as in this form, nck. This is sometimes written as nk in brackets. This is how it is written in some cases. So it is NCK into x raised to k. So here what we have, NC0 into x raised to 0 plus NC1 into x raised to 1 plus NC2 into x raised to 2 and so on. So now we'll be applying this binomial expansion to this part. We'll be applying this one to this part. So here what we consider is when we have this equation and here we observe that when I simplify this one, it will be like 1 plus say x raised to half. Sorry, I made a mistake in previous this thing. That is the power what you're considering is fractional. Then I utilize this equation. The power is fractional. Let x be anything. Let x be anything. The power is fractional. So just rectify that point. So I'll be applying this binomial expansion to the above parameter, and we'll be checking out how we go ahead with this case. So 1 second. So we'll be applying this binomial expansion that is this parameter over here, that is 1 plus x raised to n is equal to 1 plus whatever value of n is there into this x value, n into x plus n into n minus 1 divided by 2 factorial into x raised to 2, n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 divided by 3 factorial into x raised to 3, so and so on. So we'll be continuing with the utilizing this binomial expansion. So this equation is utilized when n is fraction. When n is fraction. So please omit this at present. So this one will be utilized when if I have n specifically as an integer, because we cannot have half ck. So we cannot have that definition. So instead of that, so we'll be considering it in this form. 1 plus x raised to n is equal to 1 plus whatever value of n is there into x raised to 1 plus n into n minus 1 divided by 2 factorial into x raised to 2 and so on. So this is how we'll be this expansion we'll be utilizing for this parameter. So when we apply this one when we apply the binomial expansion, what we'll be having is, so we have 1 plus x raised 1 plus r divided by j omega l raised to half and 1 plus g divided by j omega c raised to half. So here x value is r plus j omega l, and in this case x value is g by j omega c, and n value is half. N value is half in both the cases. So if I apply the binomial expansion for this one, so I'll be getting this entire stuff. So here what I have, it is 1 plus x raised to n. So it is 1 plus that is this thing 1 plus n into x. So what is n value? N value is half into this parameter, half into r divided by j omega l, plus the next parameter n into n minus 1 divided by 2 factorial into x raised to 2. So it is half into half minus 1 divided by 2 factorial into r divided by j omega l square, and so on we continue. So this part is for the first case, that is this parameter. Similarly, if I apply binomial expansion for the other case, what I'll be having, it is 1 plus n which is equal to half into x which is equal to g divided by j omega c plus half into half minus 1, that is n into n minus 1 divided by 2 factorial into x raised to square which is g by j omega c its square plus so on. So this is for the second parameter what we are considering over here. So this is the binomial expansion. Now we all had discussed one condition, that is omega L is very much greater than R at microwave frequencies. Because if you just recollect this, this is 2 pi f. It is 2 pi f. So if f is in terms of 10 raised to 9, because it is in gigahertz, it is in, say if it is 1 gigahertz, it is 2 pi into 1 raised to 10, 1 into 10 raised to 9 gigahertz. and resistance, say if it is in ohms, 1 ohm, 10 ohm. So if we consider that at microwave frequencies, omega L is very much greater than the resistance. Similarly, what we have is omega C is very much greater than the conductance. Omega C is very much greater than the conductance. Now here what happens is if you just observe, so this is not a problem, but as we move further, if you just see what you are having r square divided by j omega L the whole square. So what you're doing, if you're considering 1 into 10 raised to 9 gigahertz, so here we are squaring this. In denominator, what is happening? J omega square is 2 pi into f the whole square. So when we do that, if frequency is in gigahertz, what is happening? It is 1 into 10 raised to, it turns out to be 18. So which is very much higher as compared to this numerator. So similarly, if you go for the next this thing, what you will be having, half into half minus 1 into half minus 2 divided by 3 factorial into r cube divided by j omega L, its cube. So what happens is, as we move further, these parameters r by j omega L keeps on reducing. It keeps on reducing. So in such conditions, what we do is we neglect these parameter. That is, we assume that this tends to 0. This tends to 0. As we move further, this tends to 0. Similarly, for this case also, these parameters tend to 0 because omega c is greater than g. We are just retaining the first two parameters, and for other parameters, if we just consider, it is omega square into c square, so which is still much greater than this g square value. So what we are assuming, this value keeps on tending towards 0. So therefore this tends towards 0. Therefore the other parameters also tends towards 0. So what happens is, when I substitute, when I make this replacement, I'll be getting, if I make that consideration, what I'll be getting is, I'll be simplifying the equation. Gamma will be nearly equal to j omega into square root of LC, and I have retained only the first two parameters of both the cases. I have written only the first two parameters of both the cases, because we are considering as we move further, these parameters tends to 0. This one tends to 0, next one tends to 0. So on, even for the other parameter, this also tends to 0, and the other parameters also tend to 0. So I'll be having only what? I'll be having these two parameters. So this entire result will be nearly equal to 1 plus half into r by j omega L, and similarly the other parameter also will be equal to, nearly equal to 1 plus half into g by j omega c. So when we have this condition, so this is the simplified equation what we'll be getting based on the assumptions what we have made. Now you expand this equation, you multiply these two equations, and you'll be ending up with this parameter, and you segregate the parameters based on the coefficients. So now here you have constant value, here you have parameter which is associated with j, 1 by j, and here you have parameter which is associated with 1 minus j. So here what happens is, when I expand this one, when I expand this equation, so 1 into 1 I'll be getting the first value, 1 into this parameter I'll be getting this value. So this parameter multiplied with this one, I'll be getting the next one. Last two when I multiply, that is half into r by j omega L multiplied with half into g by j omega c. When I multiply this one, right, what happens is, you can see that I'll be getting 1/4 into r into g divided by j omega square. J omega square. So here I am getting what? Again, it is in terms of omega square. So what happens is, again, this value, since we are considering omega c and omega L to be much greater than, this is with respect to conductance and this is with respect to resistance. So this is the case. Then what I do is, I equate this to 0. That is, I assume that this value tends towards 0. So therefore, what I do is I neglect this parameter in the next step, and I'll be retaining only these three parameters. Only these three parameters I'll be retaining. So when I do that, what I'll be having is gamma will be nearly equivalent to, it will be nearly equivalent to this equation. That is, only those parameters we are considering. Only these parameters we are considering. This we are assuming that it tends towards 0. That's why we are neglecting that parameter. So since we neglect that parameter and simplify this, half is common, j omega is common. So I'll be ending up with what? 1 j omega into square root of LC into 1 plus half into R by j omega L plus G by j omega C. So when I simplify this still further, simplify this still further, what I'll be having is j omega into square root of LC multiplied with 1 will give you j omega into square root of LC. Then this, when it is multiplied with the other parameter, what happens is j omega and j omega I can take common. So when I take common, what happens is when this parameter gets multiplied with this parameter, this j omega and this j omega gets cancelled. And when I simplify it still further, I'll be ending up with this equation. That is j omega into square root of LC plus half into R plus square root of C by L plus G into square root of L by C. So this is the final equation of gamma what we'll be having. So after simplifying, after applying binomials theorem or binomials rule, and then neglecting the higher frequency contents, that is as we higher power contents, so we'll be ending up with this equation. Gamma is equal to this equation. Now we know that gamma is equal to alpha plus j beta. It is equal to alpha plus j beta. Now what we do is here also we have imaginary part and real part. Here also we have real part and imaginary part. Now we compare real and imaginary part of both the equations. So when we compare the real and imaginary parts of both the equations, we'll be getting what is the value of alpha and what is the value of beta from this equation. So here what we'll be having. So if I compare the real part, that is real part of this equation, I'll be getting the value of alpha. So therefore alpha will be equal to half into R plus square root of, half into R into square root of C by L plus G into square root of L by C. And when I compare the imaginary part, this is equivalent to beta, which is given by beta is equal to omega into square root of LC. So these are the alpha and beta parameters what we have obtained. So we have obtained the alpha and beta in terms of RLGC components. So these will be useful in coming forth problems when we are discussing, because using this we'll be estimating what is alpha and what is beta. If we know RLGC, right, we'll be able to estimate what is alpha, what is beta, what is gamma, what is Z naught. So what is phase velocity. So those all things we'll be able to estimate. So these are the things what we have for alpha and beta. Now, as we had obtained for Z naught, right? Z naught is equal to square root of Z by Y. So, which is equal to R plus J omega L into divided by G plus J omega C. Now, here again, what you do is you take out J omega L and J omega C from numerator and denominator common. When you do that, you'll be ending up with this equation. You'll be ending up with this equation. So here it will be a square root of L by C into square root of 1 plus Sorry, I was on mute. So here we'll be simplifying Z naught by using the binomial expansion. So in this case, what we are doing is we are taking j omega L in the numerator common and j omega C in the denominator common. So when we take common and simplify it, this is the end result what we'll be getting. That is Z naught is equal to this parameter, that is square root of L by C into 1 plus R by j omega L raised to half into 1 plus G by j omega C raised to minus half. So this is what we'll be getting. So now we apply binomial expansion to this parameter and this parameter. So in this one, remember R by j omega L is X and N is equal to half in this case. And for this case, G by j omega C is X and here minus half is equal to the N value. So now again, we apply the binomial expansion, that is this case 1 plus x raised to n is equal to 1 plus n into x plus n into n minus 1 divided by 2 factorial raised to x square plus so on. So we apply this one to this equation. So when we apply it to this equation, we'll be ending up with this result over here. So what does this imply here is again now we'll be making use of the condition that omega L is very much greater than R and omega C is very much greater than the conductance. So when we consider this, right, we neglect the higher powers. We assume that they tend towards zero. We'll be retaining only the first two parameters over here. So the rest all we assume that they tend towards zero. So now when we simplify that, we'll be getting Z naught in terms of this equation. That is square root of L by C into 1 plus half into R by j omega L into 1 minus half into G by j omega C. Now again you simplify this one, that is by multiplying with each of the parameters. So when you do that, you will be getting another parameter over here in which you have j omega square. So again, we assume that this parameter tends towards zero. Therefore, we neglect that parameter. So when we neglect, Z naught will be nearly equal to this equation what we are specifying. So again, you take you simplify this entire stuff. So when you in this case, we'll see that R is very much less than omega L and G is very much less than omega C. So if that is the case, what happens to this parameter? You're taking the difference of these two, R by j omega L minus G by j omega C. So in that case, what happens is this part we can neglect it because it will be a difference between a very small numbers. Again, it will be a very smaller number. So therefore, what happens is we can neglect this parameter in this case. So when we neglect, we end up with Z naught nearly equivalent to square root of L by C. Square root of L by C. So this is what we are getting in the final result. So when we apply the binomial expansion. So in coming forth classes, we'll continue with the next part and wherein we'll be discussing regarding phase velocity, then the coefficient related to that, then actual velocity. So these all things we'll be discussing and then we'll be moving forward with one or two examples and then we'll be going with the reflection coefficient and transmission coefficient parameters. So this is all for today. We'll be winding up here. Okay. Thank you.